Standard television logic. Characters going through a dilemma, and suddenly everything related to that dilemma popped up around them. Oh, hey everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube, or welcome back if this is your second time watching a Katy Keene episode review. That's right, we're past the pilot stage. The waiting's over. We're now into the show. I'm excited. Let's go. And this was a really good episode. It was a good solid episode. A good follow-up to the pilot, which I already thought was so breathtaking. Was fresh air after. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this on the top of the mark. I am not trying to make Riverdale comparisons. They are in the same show. And I feel like Riverdale is the darker aspects of the real world, and while Katy Keene expresses the optimistic and the lightheartedness. That's the only real comparison I'm making. Plus, I have not seen this week's Riverdale episode, which thankfully is going on a little break, so I need a break. I haven't seen the last Riverdale, but that's just the one offhand remark about Riverdale because I feel like making it. So anyway, new episode of Katy Keene. I was kind of a little late to see it because I've been busy. Thursday, I think I just worked a lot, so I just didn't have time to go and see this live. And then today's Friday. I'm recording this on a Friday. I had stuff to do, so I'm literally recording this literally near 1 a.m. in the morning because that's the only time I can get this reviewed. Anyway, so to the episode itself. Overall, solid episode. I feel like this was a good, proper follow-up to last episode. Plus, it gave us more insight into the Piper character. The Pepper character. I don't know why I keep thinking Piper for some reason. We got more knowledge into the Pepper character because in the pilot we only saw this image of her, but we didn't really get to explore a lot about her. And this episode really delved into it and had a real balance between the four characters, which I don't understand why they didn't do it in the pilot. But I guess since they were already trying to establish the world of Katy Keene's New York, that I guess that took away from the Pepper characters setup, which all we got was just like, we got talking of it. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a TV show. You only have 44 minutes to fill a time slot. So there's only so much you can put into it. And again, it's the pilot, so they got to put the best aspects of the show. Not to say Pepper's a bad character, not to say she's, nothing less of a character. It's just that I think when you're limiting down to a pilot to impress the network executive, regardless, this is already in part of an established, universe that Riverdale had already started. They still need to necessarily get the pieces together. Okay, this is the story we're going to tell. We're going to tell Pepper's story, but only if we get the series. But anyway, it all worked out in the end. And I feel like I kind of said a lot because they made certain character moments like, okay, this is not going to be resolved here. This is not going to happen because we're only episode 2 of the show. And I've watched so many TV shows to know, just because we're progressing on something very fast doesn't exactly mean we're going to get that immediate resolution. But anyway, so let's begin with the Butchered recap. So I believe we're picking things up, seeing, again, since we're jumping from the pilot, which is filmed usually before the show itself, the rest of the season gets moving. So definitely there was a bit of there wasn't really a big transitional. They do their best to cover up the fact that pilots are usually filmed months before the actual season gets filmed, if it does get picked up. So they did a really good transition here. Somewhat, I noticed a couple of errors, but anyway, so we get a little bit of glimpses of Katy and KO's relationship aspect. Katy's listing of the best of KO moments from their relationship throughout the past 5 years, and then we cut back to the proposal scene where you assume Katy, after saying all lovey-dovey about KO, you assume she would say yes. But then before we get that answer, apparently a thief just comes along and just takes the rings. That's New York for you, man. That's New York for you. So KO gives chase. Katy's just standing there confused, I love this man, but why can I not say yes? And that's sort of the question we leave off as we cut back to the apartment. So I'm confused still on the timeline because, again, this is New York, so I'm assuming these people, they don't have a set bedtime or anything. Cause we just came from Moxie's. No, wait. Mixie's, the bar area of the show. We just came from that. I'm assuming that happened around 9, 10 o'clock because that's bar life. So I'm assuming things don't get lively until that late into the night. And then they went to go get pizza, and then we're cutting back, and they just got together. Unless there's a time jump that happened, but the show didn't make it clear. It just seemed like we're picking things up immediately afterwards. where Katy is informing the rest of the Keene gang, or I don't really have a catchy nickname for them yet. I will. It's 22 episodes. I'll figure out something from that. When we see them, obviously they're confused. Like, why didn't you say yes to KL? And now that I'm thinking about no, there was probably a little time skip here because Josie mentioned that, she's going to get to this, but I'll just say it now, and I got to sneeze in a second, so I apologize. Sorry. Where was I? The sneeze, knocked out any sense of knowledge in my head. Oh, yeah. So Katie's trying to explain to them, she wanted to say yes, but there was something, but before they were able to get a word in, they kind of switched the topic to work as, no, we're not there yet, but, so we cut back to, no, where were we? God damn it, the sneeze knocked me out. Oh, Josie mentioned she has a new job at a donut place because since the last episode, the deal didn't work out with the Cabats. She has to get a regular normal job to pay the bills and help around the apartment because she needs to earn her keep. So I believe from then I think we get a call the next day or somewhere. We get a communication that I already forgot her name. I'm sorry. Katie's original manager needs her to come back to her department just for the day because apparently the prince is coming back. Remember that prince from the last episode? Yeah, he's back already. So not sure if they're planning to make him a recurring character or something, or maybe I don't know really. I don't know what the purpose was. But anyway, but before we get to Katie's side of things, we see, I think it's, I'm trying to remember who goes first in the story because remember we have 4 different storylines here, but they're converging at a much better pace than Riverdale. And I apologize, that'll be the last Riverdale connection I made. It's just that, God, that show has a lot to work, has a lot to fix. But anyway, moving back to it, you know what? I'm just going to explore each character directly, like I do with the rookie stuff. So if you don't know, I do another What's in the Tube sub-series where I review all the rookie episodes in season 2. And what I do with that show is that I review every plot line individually, just kind of have a sense of cohesion, and then maybe I'll just jump back and forth when I need to, when the characters are realigning. So we'll cut to Josie because I like Josie a lot. She's walking to work, and then she goes past this record store. Of course, obviously, her love of music, she immediately gets attracted to it. And there's a help wanted side. She talks to the owner, but the owner says, well, I should have taken that down that side. I'm pretty sure maybe financially he just can't afford to pay another employee. And then she convinces him, listen, I love music. I need to be around music, considering the fact after her failure of the last episode, she needs to still be around music. The guy accepts on the condition that she reorganizes the whole store for him and takes stock. So, but before she gets to start her new job, and that's another thing, she clearly had a job at a donut shop, and then she just said, screw it, I'm going to work in this music record store like that. That is not proper workmanship. That's not a proper professional attitude, regardless if it's just a temporary gig. It's not you made a verbal commitment, I'm going to work at this place, and I'm not going to quit on them the moment after they hire me. But anyway, before we see her get to work at her job, she meets up with Alexander, who is trying to convince her, listen, give me another chance, regardless of the sexual aspect of the last episode. He still believes in her to I'm rebooting the brand, and I think you're the one that should start off the reboot. And I feel like the song we made was great, but we can make it better. But Josie's no, I don't want to waste any more time with you. I need to go back to work. So Josie goes back. She started to reorganize the stuff. She finds an old piano. She starts playing a song. The owner sees it and is really really moved by it. But I don't think they communicated at all. But then later on, Josie does manage to get to reorganize the whole store, and then the owner just drops the bombshell that, listen, sorry, I can't keep the store going. The landlord just keeps raising the rent, and I can't afford it because there's no business coming in. I'm assuming there's not enough business coming in to keep the store going from tripling the rent. And that's definitely, again, living in New York, I personally seen stores, come and go. Because landlords, they always want more money. They just... It's a weird thing, because, I understand that when you are owning property, the point is to make profit. Or at least paying the bills you made to get there, and usually that means higher rent means getting the payback which quicker and then starting making the profit. I understand that option. I'm going to talk about this in a PodXcast in the near future, which is our official podcast here on ActionX, about how the fact that my parents used to own a deli and it failed under a year because of multiple factors. And one of them was the rent cost / trying to make the business to make the money to get the rent. And I definitely understand that to a T. And I've seen a lot of stores in a lot of areas I frequent shut down because they just can't afford the rent. It's just too much money. And the business is just not enough. And it does happen, especially here in New York. So for him, even operating in such a small space, records are such a very niche thing now that you have to be passionate enough to buy records to be able to afford that hobby. And not everyone has that hobby. Even my dad, he loves records, but he just can't afford it. It's just too much money. It's too much of an investment. So when you have a store that specifically deals with that, the clientele is very slow and the profit you're getting in is very little, if you understand. So I clearly understand what they're going through. Josie obviously isn't thinking about like, hey, I need a paycheck. This place is an institution. It's still respecting this type of music, this quality, this standard of music, that it would be criminal for it to go away. And she says, like, and Josie's like thinking, like, my only real option to try and save this place is to talk to Alexander and try and see if he can buy the place so that the place can still stay operational. But that does mean a negative side effect that no matter what, Josie will have to be tied with the kibbutz, regardless of this purchase, because, you know, even though the store's saved, she has to still be associated with them, even though she is trying to not be associated with them after the events of the last episode. But however, Alexander does come through, he buys the place, everything's happy, and then I think they gave her a nickname in this episode, but I'm trying to remember. Alexandra, Alexander's sister. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with the parents. Like, I understand you have kids that I guess they're twins or they're close to each other, but why name them very similar? It just makes it very confusing, in my opinion. But anyway, she shows up trying to, like, be a little bit of a stuck-up, trying to be a thorn in her brother's side. Like, hey, I see you made a purchase. I'm here to, like, you know, take stock and see, like, is this place still worth, like, making a profit over? So, and we kind of leave it on a cliffhanger, I believe. Josie kind of, like, is firm with her, like, not a big fan of her. Again, Camilla Hyde is playing such a person you want to hate, right? Like, I do not like this character at all. And not only because I don't like her character, it's like, well, I don't like her because of the way they write her character. I just don't like the character because she's an asshole. That's the way I'm trying to say it. But the actress is doing a really good job on it. And then we're going to cut to... Let's go to Pepper. Let's go to Pepper over here. Yeah, I'm saving all the Katy stuff for the end because, you know, I'm building towards that. So, Pepper... We get to see more of her, like, obviously the last episode kind of build her up as this big, like, you know, person who, like, has a lot of famous connections to a lot of people in different industries. And, you know, she's so popular, she's still... you know, connected. And we get to see that in like when we see her by herself. We get to see her in this hotel, you know, telling the concierge, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make these business deals. She meets with this banker who, you know, trying to get investment for, and she's trying to be serious because she's trying to open up her book. So we get to see Pepper's dream. Because, like, in the last episode we saw Katy wants to be a fashion designer. Well, she wants to be in fashion. Jorge wants to be a Broadway dancer, and Josie wants to be famous pop star or a famous musician. We didn't really get to see Pepper's dream. We got to see her dream. She wants to open up a place where artists can come together and, you know, interact in the nightlife culture of New York. Seems like a logistical, you know, benefit for everyone. Obviously, money is the key here thing, and she needs a big investment from the banker. And he agrees. I think that was $8 million they agreed, something around that. I really don't know. So we cut to her trying to find a place. She finds a place. She is able to use her wits to kind of outsmart the person, the renter, to kind of like reduce the price, considering the fact that another thing that apparently she does on the side is that she runs a gossip column for a newspaper. So she gets that she gets to know like what's going on in certain with certain people, and she has some kind of dirt on the owners in question. So she manages to reduce the rent. However, when she goes back to her place, it's kind of clear she's not as successful as we thought. Because I think something I mentioned in the last episode review was that we saw her as this perfect person, having made her dream. And not to say that, people who have already been successful can't hang out with people that are still developing their own careers, getting to their dream. I'm not saying that at all to be an asshole. It's just, I always found it a little bit weird that, Pepper is supposedly hanging out with these big name people, but she's still hanging out with Katy and Co. So, again, I understand friendship defies all connections. I understand that, but it was just a little bit weird for my team, especially when you're working in the young 20s zone, the young mid 20s zone of your life. So with that being said, turns out she is not doing so hot. She is not bawling as she says it is, because apparently she owes $60,000 in rent for the room. She manages to quickly escape from the hotel while the concierge tells her that, hey, your credit card bounced. The manager doesn't want you here. He wants you evicted, and we get to see her run away. I think she does briefly tell the rest of the group her problem. She kind of excuses, and that's another thing. Like, we're probably going to get an episode in the future where Pepper is going to admit that she's still working towards her dream. She doesn't have her dream yet, but she's still trying to paint this picture like she's already made her dream, and that it's something everyone needs to the people around her needs to get to in that regard. But we cut back to apparently she's now living out of the place she rented out for her future business opportunity. However, the banker in question apparently got arrested on drug charges, so he cannot approve the investment. The bank doesn't want to invest in her, so she's back at square one. The concierge shows up with all her bags, and apparently they're in a relationship. So it's like, okay, that seems legitimized. That seems plausible. Pepper has that charm to her. It's like, if I was in that world, I would definitely be attracted to her for like maybe a minute, and then it's like, okay, this is not my type of person, to be honest. Leave it there. Jorge actually got more of a bigger. This was a natural evolution for his character. / I knew his character wasn't going to go through the changes he was about to go through. So Jorge, we get to see more of his family life. We got to meet his mom and how supportive she is of him, because like she used to be in his position, but I guess her dream didn't take off, so she wants Jorge to like be in the next level of things. So Jorge has his audition for Cats. Very timely, since the movie just came out and that just completely bombed. That was kind of like ironic. But Jorge's doing his dance for the director and crew. However, it turns out he's been blacklisted for most auditions because of the outburst. Like the powerful speech he had in the last episode, turns out it's having negative effects on him. Since while for us as the viewers we understand his position, the directors do not. Like, this is just another dancer who thinks there's a problem with our way of doing things, running these auditions, and he's disrespectful to not respect the director. So they didn't blacklist him per se, but they're not going to accept him. And his manager nearly lets him go because he doesn't want to be associated with that act. But Jorge does convince him, like, give me a chance. I can do this. I can book something. And then I think his manager recommends him for a Hamilton musical. I think there's a musical Hamilton. I really don't know. But Jorge goes to the audition, and I can clearly tell from his body expression, like, something is wrong. He's not being able to portray himself properly. He's restricting himself to an extent. I mean, he still does the rap scene pretty fine. He does that perfectly well. It's just that there was just something wrong with the way he performed. Like, he did a great job, but he felt restricted. And we cut to, I think, to the bodega where he's working with his mom, and apparently he finds out that he did get the job. He's happy. His mom's like, go for it. This is an opportunity. This is the building. You can build up your career from there, because the thing is that this is going to take him away from New York, because they don't want him for the Broadway aspect, but they want him to go on tour and perform the play, I guess, in other parts of the States. So Jorge tells the others, he's kind of accepting, like, okay, this could be great for my career. I need to go. Everyone's supportive of him, but he's going to do one last night as Ginger because he has to leave the next day. So we cut to the club, the lounge, whatever, the bar. He performs a rendition of A Hundred Reasons. I forgot the name of the song. I don't follow the popular music. I just follow music songs I like. So if something's trending on music in the music industry, I'm not following it. I'm not really. So I'm sorry if I don't know the exact name of the song. But he does a rendition of a popular song. It's a pretty good rendition. But during the song, he realizes that I can't leave New York yet. I want to be on Broadway. I want to be here in New York with my friends and family. I want to make my dreams happen here in New York. He thinks that if he leaves New York to try to achieve his dream that way, it's kind of like cheating, because like he's cutting around. He wants to immediately go for Broadway, which I get. I understand. I mean, I know some people will say the opposite. No, you got to build your career. You got to build your resume so the big Broadway people can notice you and okay, yeah, you're the right guy for the job. Not in this case, but I understand Jorge's position. He decides to stay. The next day, he talks to his mom. His mom's a little bit hesitant. I'm like, you know what? I trust you. I believe in you. You know, you got my blessing to stay. So Jorge's like, yeah, I knew Jorge wasn't gonna leave. He's a series regular. He's not gonna leave the show. It's only episode 2. Come on. I'm not saying they're gonna end. So it was predictable. I just knew they weren't gonna write him off. I knew that. It's just too soon. So now let's get to Katy's flop. I feel like I've talked a lot already, and we haven't even talked about Katy's flop, which is kind of the more crucial point of the episode. So Katy goes to work. She's talking to Gloria. That's her name. The prince is back in town. He's looking to make an engagement ring for his girlfriend, which is a little bit weird per se. Again, this time jump, I don't think it was even a big time jump. I think it was just a day. But how did we go from him just being this new girlfriend to getting engaged? Unless, of course, obviously people can have their relationships in secret. That's plausible without anyone knowing. I mean, I'm looking at you, Jamie Foxx and Katie Holmes, when you guys were dating. Don't think people didn't know, don't they? We knew. Anyway, back to full reality here. The prince shows up, and he's not really being impressed with anything the store has to offer in terms of the rings. And everyone's making these wedding comparisons, because obviously Katy didn't exactly accept the proposal. I always find it ironic when the main character or a character is going through a dilemma, and suddenly everything around her is mentioning something related to that dilemma. So everyone's mentioning about, wedding dresses and bridals and, stuff like that, where it should be important to Katy right now, but she's still trying to figure out why can't she say yes to KO. And KO shows up at the strangest time to ask Katy to go out to eat for her break. Meanwhile, while she was talking to the prince asked her, "Can you just test out this ring just to see if it fits her?" And she didn't take it off. But I think by that point, the prince said, "You know what? Why don't we just do something custom made? Katy knows all about my girlfriend, or at least something about my girlfriend, so let her design the ring." So Katy Keene, fashion designer, display designer, ring designer. Okay, let's just keep adding to her and growing resume. So we cut to lunch with KO. Definitely beautiful use of the New York scenery there. I don't know where exactly they filmed that. I really don't know, and that is very troubling for me, because I live here in New York. I don't even know my locales. Apparently, KO's family KO had told his family, I'm gonna propose to Katy. And I guess they all assumed that Katy was going to say yes, so they're throwing a big engagement party for them tonight. And KO couldn't tell her exactly that Katy didn't exactly say yes to the proposal. But Katy's like, you know what? Let's still do the dinner. I want to do this. They're still my family. Let's go. So they head over to the house, and I guess in a neighborhood. I'm not sure exactly where. I think that looks like Forest Hills to me. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe I got Spider-Man on the brain. Who knows? Or Queens. I don't know. I'm tired. So they're having fun. Everyone's kind of excited, but everyone's kind of already sectioned off watching the game or something. Katy has a kind of a heart-to-heart to KO's mom, who is expressing to her, listen, I know you guys are just dating, but you already feel like my daughter. And she's having this very sentimental moment where it's I know I'm not your mom, but I kind of feel like I am your mom, even regardless if she's gone. And she's giving a lot of things to think about for Katy, because she's still she loves KO, but she still can't quite figure out why she can't say yes to the proposal. And to make things even more heartfelt but also complicated is that KO's mom wants to give Katy the ring that has been used in that lineage of the family, and she wanted KO to give Katy that as the engagement ring, but KO didn't want to do that. He wanted to earn the money to pay for his own engagement ring for her. But Katy, it looks like she was about to say yes, and finally get that moment. It's yes, I do want to marry KO, but she still can't get past that feeling I still can't say yes. I don't know why. But then we cut back to Katy. We cut to Katy and KO sitting on the bench, waiting for the bus. But KO sleeping, and Katy knew in that moment she definitely did love KO, but she still can't make the decision. We cut to the next day where Katy's sort of giving another view, like, here's what I was thinking of designing for the ring. The Prince approves of it, and for some reason Katy just has a one-on-one with Gloria. First, Gloria said, like, listen, you are still a vital piece to my department. I want you to split your time between here and with Francois. Katy's a little bit unsure on that, but because she's still thinking about the whole KL situation, she does confess to Gloria, this is what's going on. You know, I love him, but I don't want to marry him yet. I think Gloria recommends, like, why not take a little risk? Why not? I mean, isn't he worth it? And I think Katy figures out by that moment what she needs to do. Then she kind of gets entangled with the other subplots, going to the club, supporting Jorge on his final night as Ginger. Because from then, when they're in the dressing room, when Jorge is confessing that, you know, he's going to stay in New York, KO comes in and says, they caught the thief. I'm going to go out to the police station to kind of, you know, figure out if they got the ring. Kay says, no, I'm going because I guess she doesn't want to confront that just yet. Plus, she agreed to work an overnight shift with Francois. So while she's talking to Francois, I think he said, like, why isn't he worth the risk? You know, because sometimes you just don't know how things are going to turn out. So we come back to the lighthouse, which this one actually does feel more smooth in transition with the bridge. This definitely does feel more like, I didn't notice any CG in there, and again, I could be wrong. Maybe the lighthouse is in New York, and I just don't know it exists. Who knows? Katy tells KO, I want to still be with you, but I feel like before I marry you, we're missing a step in our relationship, which is the fact that we haven't even moved in together. So Katy asks him, do you just want to move in with me, first of all, and then we can get to the marriage part. He says yes. I'm loving KO so far. Like, KO could have instantly, like, because when you're like, there's a stereotype, like, wrestler dudes just don't have the emotion, they don't see reason, they just are stubborn. KO so far throughout these two episodes have been such a perfect gentleman. Like, he's doing the right things a man should do. Where it's like, yes, I understand your point, we should move in together before we get married. He could have easily said, no, I just want to marry you, that's what I want to do right now. Could have done that, but he didn't, and I'm so happy he didn't. I'm so happy he chose the path he is. They have a romantic kiss. It kind of gives it like an ominous foreshadowing that this would be the beginning of our happily ever after, but things do not end that way. So it kind of gives an ominous tease, like something's going to happen later this season. But that's kind of where we end this episode. And yeah, so that was pretty much it for episode 2. Or chapter 2, as for some reason the Riverdale style keeps calling everything by chapter, which is not a complaint, it's just something I noticed. Anyway, like I said before, I love that this episode was really good. This was a really great follow-up to the pilot, and definitely paints us a very interesting directions where the rest of the season can go with, you know, Pepper's dream of, you know, doing this venue / trying to figure out how to make money. Jorge trying to be himself, but also achieve his dream. Josie and her many trials and tribulations to become a famous singer, and Katy and her ever-growing, like, road to her happily ever after. So, yeah, so far, everything's going swimmingly. So far, every season, you know, we'll see what happens. You know, we still have a lot of more episodes to go. We're just beginning this journey. So, let's see where this goes. Anyway, yeah, so 2 thumbs up in my book. Really enjoyed this episode, and I think that's going to do it for me. I don't think I'm missing anything else. Yeah, we're good. Anyway, guys, if you were unaware, this was What's on the Tube from ActionX. If you want to know what's coming up overall on What's on the Tube, beyond Katy Keene, the next episode, What's on the Tube, I'm reviewing the whole series. Well, not really. I'm going to do a series review on The Proud Family. That's a fun one. I recorded that before I did this one. That was a lot of fun to talk about. I talk a lot about Sugar Mama, so if you really like The Proud Family, check that out then. But then after that, our other show that we do, Nancy Drew, that's on break for another week, so no episode review then. So the next time beyond that would be the next Katy Keene episode for episode 3. And then after that, we're back to normal. We're going to have the full 3 shows on the time slot. Let's go. I can't wait for that again. I miss doing that, because I haven't recorded a What's on the Tube since today. Like, since the last one I did on the series premiere, I haven't done anything since then. So I've missed doing the show. I really did. And definitely the Nancy Drew break has given me some peace of mind a little bit. So I'm happy on that. But anyway, I think, yeah, that's it. But overall, if you only care about Katy Keene, I'll be back next Saturday for the next episode review. And that's going to do it for me, guys. So, again, if you want to see more of what's on the tube from ActionX, please subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell for notifications when we have a new episode live. Like, favorite, share the video if you please. Follow us on all the social media feeds, including our brand new Twitch channel, twitch.tv/ActionXGames. We are currently doing Platinum Maxing for Spyro Reignited Trilogy for Spyro 2. If you don't know what Platinum Maxing is, it's... I'm playing a PS4 game, trying to platinum it, get the platinum trophy, and max it out to 100%. And I think that's all I need to say. I'm tired. It's been past 1 a.m. at this point in time. I need to go to sleep. I've been up since 7, so I need some sleep. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you.